College Athletic Center is located in a sprawling suburb of Chicago called Palatine. Fans arrived early to get good seats inside. 4 gleaming lanes have been installed for the finals. Listen to this crowd. Standing room only. We're live in Palatine for the finals of the $300,000 Brunswick World Tournament of Champions. Here's our final field of 5. In the number 5 position, Dennis Horan of San Diego, looking to win his second PBA title and first major. He'll meet Parker Bohn III of Jackson, New Jersey, 10-time champion and a 4-time Sportsmanship Award winner. Next up is Pat Healey of Niagara Falls, a member of Team USA and a current United States amateur champion. Mike Aulby of Indianapolis is hopeful to become just the 4th player in PBA history to have completed professional bowling's Triple Crown. And Bob Spaulding of Greenville, South Carolina is our tournament leader, seeking his second title, the Brunswick World Tournament of Champions. There you have our field, $300,000 total purse, and Nelson Burton is here with me, Chris Schenkel, and Bo with that big prize pot. The winner gets a pot of money today.
Well, Chris, it's $60,000 on top plus a new boat, but it's solid through the line. And really the most important thing is this is the biggest tournament of the year for pro bowlers. The winner will be known in just 90 minutes. We're ready to go.
And it's our final stop in the tour of 14 cities. 3,000 estimated, but they turned away hundreds that couldn't get in. They are jam-packed. Harper College, a 2-year college founded and opened in 1967. From New Jersey, Parker Bohn III. 4th in the U.S. Open at Joe Louis Arena. So the first of 3 left-handed bowlers that you'll see today has left the left-hander's bucket.
Well, he leaves the bucket, Chris, in the left-hand lane of the 4 installed here, number 3. It seems to be the tighter of the 2 lanes we're using, 3 and 4. And I had in my notes, and I really mean this, Parker Bohn shoots the bucket as well as anybody on the tour. Check this technique. He needs it in his opening frame. There you go.
So with that chop, it's 9 pins, first frame. His mother, Jean, his wife, married, 2 children are here, as the 5 finalists have the support in Harper College Athletic Center. Now, Dennis Horan of San Diego. 1 title. And his 1 title came at Arena Bowling in Erie a little more than a year ago.
Dennis Horan with a fairly simple but upright position. He has his feet spread, takes a little shuttle step, and the key to Horan's delivery is his loft over the line. At the top, he comes straight through. Now watch how he lofts the ball over the line, a good, solid lift. You don't want to throw it down into the lane, lift it out over the lane, the good follow-through, and gets an opening strike.
48 games prior to this final event were at the Brunswick Deer Park lanes. So, Haran, the winner at Erie on temporary installed lanes, has opened with a double and immediately out to a 21-pin lead. Now the cheers are for Parker Bohn. Needs encouragement after the open frame in the first. Confidence builder, if there ever was one. That along with the cheers, Bo.
Solid strike in the second frame, Chris, and we have a 5-man field here. We started with 64 players this week, 59 champions, 5 international players that qualified from 19 different countries. The man in the next match is the United States amateur champion who qualified for our finals field. Parker Bohn, a 10-time champion, trails by 21. This is the lane he has to conquer, the left-hand lane.
Mastering it now early in the first game of the Brunswick World Tournament of Champions. Parker was also 5th at AC Delco this year. All right, Parker. The double up, 3rd frame, first game, Dennis Horan. Boy. 0 rode in or not?
Well, he bowled so well last year at the split bars. Our tournament leader, he shot 267 against Boss, winning 267 to 235, and he seems to get up for the big ones. He is excellent when he gets his mind into it and really puts his body into it, and so far he's been perfect through 3.
So now the true test. No, not so much of a test.
Well, he gets a real good break, yes. Chris. As you said, that he has the 2, 4, 7, and 10 standing, and the 6 just nudges out the 10 at the last moment. He's got a good break. As you see the approach from the sideline view of Dennis Horan, he gets a good break of the machine not touching the 10 pin. Watch the machine coming down. Boom, barely is knocked over the 10.
Too far off the 7. So we have 2 open frames and only 6 pins separate our 2 professionals in the finals. First game. We'll be back. Yes, we're in Palatine, Illinois, a suburb of Chicago. There's the skyline. And speaking of that major city, this is some view from Lake Michigan, isn't it?
It's not whether you win or lose. It's whether you win.
The meek may inherit the earth, but they'll never bowl a perfect game.
The challenge of a new day, our achievements will not be tainted by the smell of corruption. We will find bold new solutions that will not only ensure a clean start, but will also, ever so softly, serve notice that we are not a generation of slackers. We are the future, and we come for what's ours.
When traffic congestion changes, the threats to your car's engine change. That's why Quaker State has engineered intelligent oil. Oil that senses the changing threats in your engine and adapts its own molecular structure for continuous protection. So whenever the driving conditions change, so does Quaker State, the intelligent oil for longer engine life.
Now you can change to the intelligent oil and save $3.60 on a case of Quaker State. See store display for details.
From Harper College working this really enthusiastic crowd. All ages here today. 6 pins separating Parker Bohn, at whom you're looking, and Dennis Horan. Parker can take the lead now with a strike in the 4th frame of this first game. He opened with an open frame, so he has come back now beautifully. Tomorrow on ABC Sports, Jackie Joyner-Kersee, Cheryl Miller, Debbie Thomas, and rising tennis star Venus Williams discuss their struggles for respect on and off the field when Nike presents A Passion to Play, the African-American experience. Then we return to PGA West for the final round of the Liberty Mutual Legends of Golf tomorrow. The 10 goes. And it's a 4-bagger and a 14-pin lead. And there's Mary Bohn and their 2 children, Parker the 4th, who's 5, and Evan, who's 3.
Hasn't been a spare in the match yet. All strikes are missed spares, missed frames. One by Parker in the 1st, one by Haran in the 4th.
Well, earlier today on ABC, for some of you were able to see at the PGA West the next to last round of the Liberty Mutual Legends of Golf. And don't forget the finals will be on tomorrow, along with a wonderful
new series called A Passion to Play, the African American Experience. ABC Sports tomorrow.
So that double cuts the lead to 4 pins by Parker Bohn, who's up and ready. Parker is 31 years old.
It's a third arena finals for him, 4th at Richmond and 4th in the Open, as we indicated. That was at Joe Louis Arena in Detroit.
Well, we know, Chris, after doing a number of these arena bowls, that it takes strikes here. The average score in the arena setting since we've been doing on ABC is around 245. And so that means mostly strikes. And the thing that has made Parker such an improved player, coming from an average pro in the late 80s to one of the premier players in the tour in the 90s, is his wrist action. That's the good snap on the balls. He lets it go into the bottom of the swing. He had about 2 more revolutions to get it up to about 14, and that's what really moves the pins. Here he can take a 24-pin lead with a 6th strike.
All right. 6 in a row. A 24-pin lead. We're going to take a break. We'll be back.
Announcing a waterproofing breakthrough.
Thompson's Water Seal Ultra Waterproofer.
Ultra powerful.
The best multi-surface waterproofer you can buy.
Ultra protective.
Thompson's Ultra beats the competition hands down.
Thompson's Ultra, the ultimate waterproofer.
Watch the legends team up to battle the TPC Stadium course at PGA West. Don't miss the Liberty Mutual Legends live on ABC.
McDonald's presents the greatest matchup in basketball, Charles and Taz. Sylvester and Wowie. Wowie and Wowie.
Collect all the matchups on McDonald's NBA Looney Tunes All-Star Cups. Buy any extra value meal and for 39 cents more, supersize it and get a free cup for a limited time. Break for yours today.
Wedgie and Woldwater. Gracious, Michael?
I thought you retired. McDonald's NBA Looney Tunes All-Star Showdown Cups.
High speed, heavy metal. It's auto racing with an attitude. The NASCAR Super Trucks take the track. Next on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
We mentioned to you earlier that the athletic center is jam-packed, and there isn't a person in the arena that hasn't given a lot of thought to Oklahoma City, nor have any of us. So with all the good times we're having here, we certainly have our regrets and sympathy to those that lost friends and family on the tragedy. So, back to bowling now. The Brunswick World Tournament of Champions, Dennis Horan. He is trailing now. He had the early lead, but he's down by 24. Can cut it by 10. Doubled up, shooting in the 7th frame.
Okay, here's Bo.
Thank you, Chris Schenkel. Pat Healey, the only international player, in fact, the U.S. amateur champion in the field today. Did you ever have any aberrations of winning the big one without ever being on the Pro Tour?
Obviously not. This week has just been special to me. It's been special to all the international players. We're very thankful what Brunswick and the PBA did in bringing all of us here to bowl. So I just feel honored to be here.
Well, you're a great representative of the international player, and the truth is in the next few minutes. So good luck. Back to you, Chris.
Okay. Here's a gritty competitor.
Last night in the final game against Brian Voss, he shot a 257 to Brian's 244 by 13 pins, not allowing Brian to be on our telecast today, finishing 6th. Now, 4 pins separating these players as we're coming down to the final frames of match number 1. Parker Bohn, who has strung 6, shooting in the 8th frame. Three pin on the right lane.
Chicago, like Detroit, like St. Louis, bowling capitals for years and years.
Chris, we've seen so many matches this winter that have been 3 or 4 pins difference, and here we go with just 2 frames left, a 3-pin difference.
Monday on ABC, a nightmare that never ends. What happened to the United Nations promise to protect these people? Peter Jennings reporting the Peacekeepers, how the UN failed in Bosnia, Monday at 8, 7 Central, here on ABC.
No matter what Parker Bohn does, he cannot shut out Dennis Horan. Bohn, take it off the sheet, would be 258. Horan, despite the disastrous 4th frame, can still shoot 265. It'll go to the last ball. Parker's best shot of the match, Chris.
Building that foundation here in the first match. Dennis Horan.
Somewhat of an unknown quality in this position on a pro tour. He had one chance to shut out an opponent. He did that when he beat his opponent in the split fire when it was Brian Boss. But however, he's never been at this level before in the big tournament.
Nice break on the 7-pin on the right lane. So he too has built something in the 9th.
Pin action tells the story. The 4-pin, 2nd pin on the left-hand part of your screen, sets in what they call the flat gutter and just taps the middle of the 7. If it doesn't catch the middle of the 7, Chris, it doesn't go down. What a terrific break, and he's put himself in a position where he needs 2 strikes and 4 pins to shut out Parker Bohn. Anything less, Bohn has a chance in the 10th.
Running it out, nearly ran off the temporary installed lanes. Approaches.
His wife Terry likes that action, Chris, as he really gets 2 terrific breaks here. We've noticed with the synthetic lanes in the arena setting, everything is set to the closest American Bowling Congress tolerances. That's why you get that terrific pin action. He's put himself in a position where with 1 strike and 4 pins, it will be the end of the day for Parker Bohn. If he doesn't strike, Bohn can win it.
The scout.
Well, this is modern bowling at its best, Chris, and I like all the action, the pin action. I could venture to say 30 years ago, if we were bowling the Brunswick World Memorial, which I did years ago, with the old wood pins, you wouldn't have gotten that kind of pin action or that score. It's going to be a 265.
Wow. Big numbers. That's been the history of arena bowling this year. Averages high.
You know, another observation, Chris, and we've seen a lot of big scores, but in the last 8 weeks, how many games have been decided by a missed spare? Parker Bohn misses a spare in the 1st frame, and that was his undoing. If he makes that spare, he shoots 269, and he wins the match. Going to finish in the 240s, a credible score, but not enough.
So, Parker Bohn, who was 4th a couple of weeks ago, is going to wind up 5th today. $12,000 check. Handshake to Dennis Horan, who moves ahead to go against the United States National Amateur Champion. This ABC sports presentation of the Professional Bowling Show will continue after these messages. A word from our ABC stations.
America's greatest horse race, the Kentucky Derby, May 6th on ABC.
Monroe developed SensorTrack shocks to smooth out the road for a comfortable ride. But SensorTrack doesn't stop there. It's the only shock that also gives you extra control when you need it most. SensorTrack shocks and struts, only by Monroe, for comfort and control.
For 150 years, Brunswick has been leading the way with names like Mercury, the world's leader in marine power, Sea Ray, the world's finest sport boats, cruisers, and yachts, Bayliner, the world leader in pleasure boats, Zebco, America's fishing favorite, and Brunswick, the #1 name in bowling. The companies of Brunswick, building for the future for 150 years.
Distinctive, comfortable clothing fits today's active and demanding lifestyle. Add fashion, quality, and flair, and you've got PBA Tour Apparel. PBA Tour Apparel, made in America, is clearly the choice of champions, like PBA Player of the Year, Norm Duke. Activewear with American-made quality and style and recognizable value. Call 1-800-521-5212 to place your order for PBA Tour Apparel or your free catalog. PBA Tour Apparel by King Louie, the striking difference.
A Hallmark event.
I don't always feel like I belong to them.
An adopted daughter searches for her true father.
You know who you are.
But the two men who know the truth have sworn to never tell. Jeff Daniels and John Lithgow in Hallmark Hall of Fame's Redwood Curtain, Sunday on ABC.
When does a car feel good? When things are easy to reach. So we built a cabin simulator that varies the location of almost everything the driver uses to drive the car. We move the parts in and out and up and down. It wasn't until everyone was comfortable that we could relax. New Dodge Stratus. It's full of answers.
Angino and Rovner has a national reputation. They try many important cases. They've represented injured people for a long time. So why does a law firm like Angino and Rovner choose to advertise? The reason is you. Because when the stakes are high, you need the right lawyer. Angino and Rovner, the Central Pennsylvania personal injury law firm.
Roseanne, weekdays at 5 on WHTM.
ABC Sports coverage of the Pro Bowlers Tour, brought to you by Brunswick. Get in the zone with Brunswick. Old Spice High Endurance Deodorant. For long-lasting odor protection, now you've got proof, not promises. Tinactin. If you want a medicine that acts tough, get Tough Actin Tinactin.
And there's the long shot of the Brunswick lanes, the right pair being used for the championship. And look at the scores of our first game. Dennis Horan had 11 strikes, 265 to Parker Bohn III's 243, and now it's Haran going against the United States amateur champion, Patrick Healey.
Well, Chris, as expected, high scoring and exciting first match. And, you know, it's been a long week here, 48 games of Tournament Champions, and the week was kicked off with probably the finest dinner we have all year long, where it is the Tournament Champions dinner, and I think it's going to be interesting to take a look at.
Right. It's the inaugural Reichert Cup that helped get the week underway, with the United States team defeating the international team. Walter Ray Williams, of course, doing the best for the US of A, and that evening, to help celebrate the traditional dinner of champions, 400 people welcomed the 60-more-man field and the newly PBA Hall of Fame inductees, Walter Ray Williams Jr., David Ozio, and Roger Zeller of Columbia. Handshake now. There he is from Niagara Falls, a graduate of Wichita State in the blue shirt. Pat Healy going against San Diego's Dennis Horan. Seven pin on the left lane.
Well, Haran's going to need some solid conditioning and some solid concentration to go through the whole field here today, as there's so much pressure on him in the first match as he threw 11 strikes. Right here, he doesn't get that break he got on the 7-pin in the key 9th frame in the last match. You see the 4-pin just setting down in the channel and doesn't take out the 7. Now here's a man, Chris, who's been the U.S. amateur champion and came through an amazing numbers to get here. Actually, there was 19 countries participated with the amateurs to qualify for the 5 spots, over 30,000 entrants, and then the players bowled a 24-game match play competition on Sunday just to get in the field, the pro field. So here's a man who survived it all.
and nervousness has set in.
Well, actually he hit his ankle here, Chris. He's probably one
Well, he
thing.
shouldn't hit his ankle.
One thing you teach a player is that not to pull the ball when you're nervous. And here he tucks his swing inside out. He hits his left ankle. And it's imperative that he just maintain his concentration here and try to keep that arm swing close to your body. We've given it in tips, and we watch it among all the good pros, is you have to have the body and the swing together. And it's so hard to do after you've hit your ankle on a shot. Pretty good.
Didn't quite come up for Pat Healey, and we all feel for him. We really do, because it's count of 6 in the first frame.
Here it is again. This is the shot on the spare. He gets it in the oil. In other words, his shot's around the second arrow. There's a heavy amount of oil in the center of the lane. If you pull it into that oil, the ball's going to skid by the head pin. He tried to keep his swing in, but it was too tight. He said he was as nervous as a mouse in the Hemingway house, Chris. And if you've ever visited Ernest Hemingway's house with all those cats around there, you can know what he's feeling.
Good recovery. Pat Healey, who owns a pro shop in Niagara Falls, and he likes that type of life so much that he's never gotten his PBA card. But he's been around the world with a bowling ball. Dennis Horan. Sparrow. Leaving a 7 pin. And if you just joined us, here's a man that had 11 strikes and shot a .265 to Parker Bohn III's .243. This is our second game of the Brunswick World Tournament of Champions. Next up will be the number 2 seed, Mike Aulby, going for the Triple Crown. 2 spares now for Haran, and we return to Bo Burton.
Thank you, Chris Schenkel. You actually didn't lose that first match, Parker. You just haven't had any breaks all week long. I watched you shoot a lot of big games and no wins.
No, all week. It seems like I can bowl 230, but after half a dozen of those and coming up short, obviously now this makes number 7 over 230 and coming up short. So I don't know what to say. I'll just have to knock on the door next time.
Well, maybe it's out of respect for you. You think you're too tough.
I don't know. Maybe I'm making them work too hard, but they're getting the job done. So I hope it stops soon.
All right, back to you, Chris.
So the man that defeated Parker in the first game gets a strike finally in the 3rd frame. Now, with the channel shot at the very first ball, and then 6 pins with his second, here is the United States amateur champion, Pat Healey. 3 gold medals, 1 silver in the 1995 Pan Am Games. So he has doubled now, and he is trailing by only 3 pins.
Well, here's one of the best trained bowlers ever to come out of college on the tour. He's had top-notch training all his life, and everything is in perfect textbook position. Look at the pivot step. Watch him pull that left arm back as he squares his shoulders up, then hits the line in perfect position. That's a product of great training and great athletic ability.
First amateur to make the telecast of the Tournament of Champions. Look at that. There is Miriam, his wife, the band in the background, that of Rob Folks. Yes, we are on the campus of Harper College. Here is a glimpse.
I know it sounds crazy, but yeah, I took the high endurance challenge from Old Spice because I didn't really think it could work better than my old deodorant, but it does. It evaporates less quickly, it also lasts longer, protects better. Try it. If you don't think it's the best, call 1-800-PROVE-IT and they'll buy you a stick of yours. So if you still think every deodorant works the same, take the high endurance challenge from Old Spice, because now you got proof. Guaranteed.
Hey, you get into fitness, you're likely to get into athlete's foot, and that could be tough. I mean, look at, you've got all that itching and cracking stuff, and watch this. Boom, even burning. You see that? Now, that's what you call a really tough case. That's when you want a medicine that acts tough. Boom, tough actin, tenactin. See, Tinactin cures even tough cases of athlete's foot fungus. It's clinically proven. No wonder it's recommended by pharmacists. You got a tough case of athlete's foot? Get this. Boom! Tough-actin Tinactin.
They've blazed a trail in sports and society.
I did what I had to do to be successful.
The African American Experience when Nike presents A Passion to Play, Sunday on ABC.
Arena bowling at its finest. The Athletic Center, Harper College, Palatine, Illinois. Dennis Horan, leading by 7 strikeouts. 17-pin lead, and here again, Bo.
Thank you, Chris Schenkel, and with me, Mike Aulby. Mike, you've won a lot of tournaments, but and I've noticed this week you're psyched more for this one than any other one. What's the real reason?
Well, yeah, there's a lot of things. I've had a lot of heartbreaks in this tournament. With this time, it's the Brunswick World Tournament Champions. A little bit different feel than it was in Akron. Not as much pressure, so I'm ready to go out there, and it's all up to me now. So I've got here and got to pop at it again.
You'd be the only man, fourth man ever to win the Triple Crown, but also with the Masters, be the only man.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great thrill, but I'll tell you what, they're all tough out here. I got 2 games to go, hopefully, one at a time.
He's the champ, Chris. He'll be in the next match. Back to you, Ben.
Okay. 6-pin for Dennis Horan. And, of course, Mike will meet the winner of this game. Our 14th telecast, ABC Sports, 34th year Professional Bowlers Tour telecast. We'll be back in 1996. March. We'll tell you about it later. Okay. Spare. Continuing to mark. Whereas Pat Healey, supreme test in the first frame, throwing his first shot in the channel. The fan now with him. Here's Haran's replay.
Left-hand lane, and a lot of the players have complained. Alby, who's in the next match, has made a change where he's using one shoe on the left-hand lane, a different one on the right.
Pat Healey now has strung 4. Coming up next on ABC's Wide World of Sports, an exciting new motorsports event rumbles into California. It combines the high speeds and close racing action of stock cars with the heavy metal thunder of bigger racing vehicles. It's the NASCAR Super Trucks. That's coming up next, right here on ABC Sports.
And just to follow that lane story a little bit, lane 3 has a little different panel. There's 5.5 panels that are 12 feet long that go from just inside the foul line to the pit that are used in synthetic lanes, and 2 of those have been damaged on lane 3 and replaced, so the lane's a little different than 4. And what a break he gets.
You can see that the crowd is with him. You can hear that the crowd is with him.
Well, as our old buddy Frank Esposito used to call that the Jersey squasher, and he just pushes the ball down. A rather stoic Pat Healey. We get a wry smile after this one.
Spare up.
See if Haran can come back from this, Chris. It's just the crowd. He has to reset himself and take his time. They were kind of reacting to a replay. And so right now, Haran, who snuck by the first match with 265 over Parker Bohn's 243, has got his back to the wall. He trails by 18.
No. 3-9.
What he needs to do is get the ball over in the 3-pin zone, carry it straight back into the 9. The key pin is the back pin. Much less margin of error for 3-9 than just the 3-pin or 9-pin by itself.
Well done. But there you see that Pat Healey has put 5 together. He has a 20-pin lead. Some checkpoints. That he needed, only his 3rd of the game when he had 11 in his first game victory.
We're at Harper College, where we'll return in a moment.
When you don't let me know, honey, how you feel.
Split Fire won a United States patent. It's clearly different, but is it really better? Some of the toughest judges in the nation conducted trials and published their verdicts. 5 extra horsepower by merely installing these plugs. A 4.8% gain in mileage. Quicker in the quarter mile. There's nothing like a Split Fire. You'll get more power and more mileage guaranteed. You'll get it all for your money back.
When the spirit calls you, dreams come alive.
Bayliner, world-leading technology, design innovation, and quality. Just for the fun of it. Call toll-free today for the name of your nearest Bayliner dealer.
Bayliner Country, where dreams come alive.
Monday, Peter Jennings in Bosnia. Why can't the nightmare be stopped? What happened to the United Nations promise to protect these people? Peter Jennings reporting, Monday.
All right, back again in Palatine, Illinois. Our 4th arena show in 1995, and something tells me there'll be more, because this is the excitement that is generated. For the fans here, some 3,000, hundreds turned away because no room at the end. No more room at the end. And here now is Pat Healey, leads by 20, 5 in a row, 7th frame, 2nd game. Touch, but standing. A graduate of Wichita State, where he's first team collegiate All-American in 87 and 88. Most valuable player at the National Collegiate Championships.
Watch his head pin go to the left sideboard, Chris, and if the center of that head pin had hit the 10 pin, it had knocked it over. If it caught it down by the bottom of the pin, didn't quite have enough leverage to kick it off its axis. Healy is showing good technique, good composure all week long. Should have no trouble with this spare. I can make those spares tough, Parker.
Oh, yeah.
Woo. Well, as we always said, all what you need to do is touch up the spares. That's why you can throw a fairly straight shot at the spins, and boy, oh boy, that's as narrow as you can nip it. Woo. You actually have a margin of error of about 13 inches to make a single pin spare. The diameter of the bowling ball about 9, the pin about 4, and he uses all of it. As he makes the spare in the 7th, he leads by 19.
This time a wobbly 4. Three-time Team USA.
Now, if the 4 pin's going to get knocked down, it's going to be by the 2 pin. The 3rd pin on the left-hand part of your screen. Watch the 2 pin. There it goes to the left sideboard. It hits the top of the 7. Doesn't quite catch the 4 in the center to trip it out. Right now, Healy going at 224 place. If Haran takes it off the sheet, it'd be 246. Once again, another tight, close game.
The man that finished 47th at the United States Open in Detroit a couple of weeks ago. Last year, 42nd in the 1994 Brunswick Memorial World Open.
Big shot for Haran right here. He doesn't want that lead to stay at 18 going into the 10th frame. He can cut it to 8 with a strike.
Big double, big double.
Haran has put himself in the exact same position, a little different score, that he had in his match with Parker Bohn III. Basically, he can strike out and shut out his opponent, who seemed to have control of the match all the way through up until this point. So each frame is critical, but this one is very important, as he can take the lead and keep himself from being shut out. 9th frame.
Pressure, pressure. Comes back.
Moves the glove for a moment, concentrates, but how about this for reaction and calmness? Or is it?
The underdog, Pat Healey, the international player, the U.S. amateur champion right now, has himself backed up to the wall against one of the great pros on tour, Dennis Horan.
Back in the ninth, Wichita State
alums are cheering. And this is our view. Not bad, is it?
All right, Healy can strike out for 244. He can't shut out Dennis Horan. The National Collegiate Bowling Championships are being contested this week in Knoxville, Tennessee, and I'm sure a lot of the collegians are watching their chief competitor, the national champion, the amateur champion, bowling in bowling's premier event right now. His greatest test he's ever had at any level. He needs to throw 2 strikes to stay in this match.
Yes. 8-pin lead, Wichita State.
All right, it's strike for strike at this point. That strike there makes Dennis Horan strike. If Healy gets another one, then Horan must strike again. And the only advantage that Haran would have is he has a 2-pin edge on count. If they both take it off the sheet, in other words, 244, 246, I still like having the strikes already posted. 8-pin lead can make it 18.
I hit 3-6-10.
All right, simply for Pat Healey, he's done the best he could until that ball. Right now with the spare, he'll have 231. He will force Dennis Horan to get the first strike in the 10th and a decent count. The count depending on whether Healey makes the spare or not. All right, 231 for Pat Healey, an excellent performance. The situation for Dennis Horan is simply this. He needs a strike and a good count, at least 6 pins, and a spare, or strike and 8. Obviously, the strike must come first. This is the one. If he doesn't strike, he cannot win. Healy wins the match. Horan's ball drifts high, leaves the 6-pin. The international player is going into the semifinal.
Okay, today's Choice Hotels Tip of the Week features 1965 tournament champion winner Billy Hardwick.
ABC Sports presents a winning never gets old bowling tip. Brought to you by Quality, Comfort, Clarion, and Sleep Hotels.
Our guest today is bowling's first Triple Crown winner, Billy Hardwick. Billy won the U.S. Open, the PBA National, and the Tournament of Champions. And here's his famous style some 30 years ago. Bill, footwork was so important to you in your career. Tell us about it.
Well, it was more critical than the equipment because I've had arthritis all my life and had to be real careful that I didn't hurt myself in the approach. So what I did was I had a sole specially made for my sliding shoe. This is a Teflon sole which ensured that I would never stick. To make sure I didn't overslide, I took my plant shoe and I put a rubber sole on the bottom so I could plant before I'd go into that long slide. Now the long slide not only extended my approach 2 feet, but extended my career about 10 years.
All right, Bill, but these shoes look like the ones you won the 1969 U.S. Open with. It's time to buy a new pair, Phil.
Well, both those are the ones, but I did polish them just for you.
They look okay then. Well, for today's senior player, you can extend your career and enjoy the game much more with custom-made shoes. For the right shoe or the traction foot, they have soles that will not slip. Keeps you very stable on the way to the line. And for the slide sole, there are a lot of things you can do. This particular sole has a buckskin sole on the front part of it and gives you a nice smooth slide. So take a tip from one of the great players of all time. Pay as much attention to your bowling shoes as you do to the rest of the equipment, and you'll enjoy the game more. And remember, winning never gets old.
The Look for future ABC Sports Winning Never Gets Old bowling tips. Brought to you by Quality, Comfort, Clarion, and Sleep Hotels. There are gut balls and gutter balls. And sometimes the trophy falls. But no matter what, you'll love the bowlers who have it all on ABC Sports Home Video, Bowling, the Perfect Game. Call 1-800-4ABC-VCR to order bowling's colorful history. Narrated by Chris Schenkel and Nelson Burton Jr. This collector's home video can be yours to enjoy for only $14.98 plus $3.95 shipping. That's 1-800-4ABC-VCR.
You know, winning never gets old, and neither does saving money. If you're 50 or over, just call 1-800-4CHOICE to reserve a room in any Quality, Comfort, Clarion, or Sleep Hotel. And you can save 30% off the price of your room. That number again, 1-800-4CHOICE. Perfect.
Travelers 50 and over save 30% at Quality, Comfort, Clarion, and Sleep Hotels.
McDonald's presents the greatest matchup in basketball, Charles and Taz. Sylvester and Wowie. Wowie and Wowie.
Collect all the matchups on McDonald's NBA Looney Tunes All-Star Cups. Buy any extra value meal and for 39 cents more, supersize it and get a free cup for a limited time. Break for yours today.
Wedgie and Woldwater. Gracious, Michael and Michael?
I thought you retired. McDonald's NBA Looney Tunes All-Star Showdown Cups.
Yes, we can match any color. No problem. Customers don't want to stand around and wait. They can't get the project done waiting. Yes, we can match this color. This is your Brussels sprout green. The faster I can finish here, sooner he can get out. If they want that color, we do our best to get it. Bowling ball blue. And here's your ball.
Protect your home's exterior wood with Bear Plus 10 Exterior Stain. With an incredible selection of super durable, solid, and semi-transparent colors, you'll find it at a guaranteed low price every day at the Home Depot.
Try to say, I said go.
2 games completed, 2 big ones to go. Haran winning the first with 11 strikes, 265, the Bones 243. Then in steps the United States amateur champion with 7 strikes. He eliminates Haran. So, the college kids are coming through. And this is where the first 48 games took place at the Brunswick Park, Deer Park Lanes. And here you see a lot of the pros that were competing out in Bow. How did they finish? 6 through 24.
Well, it was a solid prize fund. Brian Voss very disappointed finishing 6th. The U.S. Open champion Houston in 7th. Marshall Holman, who's been there before, has won this champion. Johnny Petraglia, Triple Crown winner. Colorful Chris Morin. Randy Peterson, U.S. Open champion Justin Roman. Jason Couch, the Bakes. Mark Ross, how can you forget his victory last week? The Buzzsaw back this year. Brian Goebel, steady as ever. Rich Abood stuck in the last spot in the Tournament of Champions, made the most of it. The Rocks had a good year, and John Mazza rounds out the field of 24 finalists.
Okay, and 1996 is on our calendar at ABC Sports. The 35th consecutive season, the AC Delco Classic in Lakewood, California. Mark this down, Saturday, March 23rd, our first of 14. Handshake now. Matt Healy, the amateur champion, and in the eyes of many, truly one of the great bowling champions ever. 22 championships, needs only the T of C to complete bowling's Triple Crown. Mike Aulby. Thank heavens he had that strike because he had a big distraction. Fellow not knowing what was going on walked down paralleling his approach.
You know, Chris, he recognized that and took it into consideration and blocked it out of his mind, and that's a veteran move. If you really know it's going to happen, you can block it out, and that's exactly what Alby did instead of delaying the game.
One of the many college professionals now on tour. Mark McDowell was president of the PBA, and of course, he was a great college player. There are just many of them. And that's where the future PBA stars will come from. Because intercollegiate bowling is big, both men and women. Wichita State last year won both nationally, the men's and women's, for the first time. Oh, averted the split.
Overreaction. Overreaction in the frame now.
That is the voice of Pat Healey. Overreacted, you're right. And he does discuss things with Pat Healey. Stuck at the line, but nevertheless, opening with a strike and now marking with a spare. Whereas his opponent, Mike Aulby, who is #1, get this, of all the professionals on the PBA Tour this year, Mike is averaging 226, 446 games. No. The 9 robbed. Composing himself now. 35 years old. We're in the Bulls area for sure. Just did come up for a spare, Bo.
Thank you, Chris Schenkel. Dennis, you only missed the pocket one time in that match, and yet you came down the 10th frame, you could throw a double, and it really looked like you threw that ball pretty well.
You know, I did throw it well. I had trouble the whole time on that lane, going a little light. I just couldn't quite get it up to the pocket. So for that shot, I said, you know, I'm just going to make another move and see what happens. And I threw it well, and obviously it overreacted a little bit for the 6-pin.
How about the two approaches? A little bit different on lane 3 and lane 4?
Lane 3, especially when I went to shoot the 6-pin on lane 3, I almost stuck. I mean, I stuck it and almost fell on my face. But overall, the approaches weren't too bad.
All right, back to you, Chris. We'll watch for that.
All right. There you see Tammy, Alby, and CJ, Christopher, 5 years old, energetic. Beautiful strike. Healy. They are going shot for shot here now. All even after 3 frames in the semi-final game. Our tournament leader, Bob Spaulding, waiting to meet the winner of this game. Leaving a 7.
He said to himself in the second frame, overreact. He was light in that second frame, and what he means by overreact is when he gets the ball too wide, it hooks too much, and when he pulls it a little bit to the left of his target, it stays in the oil that's in the center of the lane a little bit too long. Now let's watch his spare technique, especially on today's modern lanes. The 7-pin is the hardest single-pin spare, replacing the 10-pin, which historically has been the toughest spare. And he takes that 45-degree angle with the spare. That's good technique.
Okay, it's a spare in the 4th frame for Pat Healey, who won his first match, now going against Alby. Lake Michigan isn't the only body of water near downtown Chicago. There's also the Chicago River.
Sea Ray Sport Cruisers are the work of the 2 most important designers in boating. Sea Ray, the world's most experienced builder of pleasure boats. And you, the people who buy them and love them. You said you wanted more conveniences, more luxury, even more Merc Cruiser power. And you got it. Sea Ray Sport Cruisers. Not just everything you could ask for, everything you did ask for. Ask for a test drive now.
When the bear comes out of hibernation, motor skills are awkward. He is bad tempered. He hears little, sees less. but his sense of smell remains keen. The bear sniffs. The refreshing scent of Coast revives him. Massive lather engulfs him, after which he becomes friendly and playful and can learn to do tricks. Coast, the eye-opener.
High speed, heavy metal. It's auto racing with an attitude. The NASCAR Super Trucks take the track. Next on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Fifth frame for Pat Healey.
Really bad. That was really bad.
Now he's scolding himself. And rightfully so, a 1-2-4-10. While we were away, Mike Aulby in the fourth frame doubled to take a 10-pin lead. Fifth frame, another strike to lead by 20 and now by 24. Here's a tough split. 1-2-4-10. It's an open frame in number 5. Here again, Bo Burton.
Thank you, Chris Schenkel, our tournament leader. Big Bob, the championship here is getting a little tricky. Tell me what you see out there and what you're going to try to do.
Well, I had a couple practice balls there, and the left lane is about 5 board tighter than the right lane. So I actually put a little surface on one of the balls, and I'm going to try to get in and just play all oil and maybe go a little bit straighter.
All right, he's the most powerful player in the field, Chris. A little bit more surface means he sanded his ball a little bit. The heck can hook on the left-hand lane. Let's see how he does. Championship match is next.
After the open frame, a strike in the 6th, still trailing by 35, and up is Alby, who has 3 in a row, shooting in the 6th frame. So now the veteran, Mike Aulby, is strung 4 and takes a 45-pin lead.
Alby has always told me he has an A game and a B game. And what he means by that, he has his A game at once he has the lanes read properly, his timing is up to speed. He puts everything he can on every ball. Right now he's going with that A game. His B game obviously is a little more protective until the lanes come to him. Every shot's been in the pocket so far. He left a solid 9 in the 2nd, the only spare.
Five in a row. Going to take a break. You'll be hearing the Rob Folks Band, their 50s rock band from Chicago. More of the match coming up. Chicago's United Center is home to guess who? Yes, Michael Jordan is back.
Beat the ball. Somebody beat the ball. And your dust.
It's all in the beer. Mine. The shoe.
I am the ball.
Legends team up to battle the TPC Stadium course at PGA West. Don't miss the Liberty Mutual Legend, live on ABC.
Dear Thompson's, when I ran out of Thompson's Water Seal Waterproofer, a clerk said, try this one. They're all the same. What a mistake. 2 years later, rain still rolls off the Thompson side. The other side soaks it up. Thanks, Thompson's. Steven Zukowskis.
Sunday, April 30th, Clint Eastwood's biggest movie ever. Morgan Freeman, Gene Hackman, Unforgiven, Sunday, April 30th, 8:30, 7:30 Central on ABC. Parental discretion advised.
Capacity crowd here at the Athletic Center, Harper College. And Mike Aulby continues to roll on, shooting in the 8th frame while we were away. Pat Healey marked as a spare and then a strike in the 8th. Still trailing big. So, Bo, it's hard to beat the string of 6 by Alby.
It's an old saying you told me once 25 years ago, Chris, when I first met you, is luck favors the well-prepared. Alby came into this tournament well-prepared with his game and well-prepared for this championship pair. I watched him as they warmed up. He changed shoes on the left-hand lane because the panels are a little different, changed balls, adjusted everything, and he's just knocking them dead.
Another strike coming in the 9th frame, and Pat Healey acknowledges greatness. Pat Healey, listed as an amateur, he does not have his PBA card, but as a bowling amateur, he can collect the $24,000 that he'll receive.
We make 2 exceptions, Chris. In the U.S. Open, where they qualify as amateurs, and here in the Tournament of Champions, where they can qualify as amateurs, they can keep their prize money and still maintain their amateur status. That's what Healy's going to do. The best he can finish with this game is 215, but it's been a great week.
Okay, tomorrow on ABC Sports, don't miss the final round of the Liberty Mutual Legends of Golf. This afternoon, Tony Jacklin and Bob Charles are in at 13 under par. This is the tour's only 2-man team event, so our coverage begins at 4 Eastern, 3 Central, and Pacific time tomorrow right here on ABC Sports.
Arnold Palmer and one of the real good bowlers on the PGA Tour in that picture, Tom Wargo. Bowls in the St. Louis area.
Oh, there are days. There are days. And Miriam, his wife, along with the crowd, acknowledging the fact that this man went through 48 games and he qualified 3rd out of the field of 64.
He says he wants to join the PBA Tour, Chris. I look for him to be out on the tour solid as a regular player and a short future.
And he sort of likes his pro shop, making money there at Niagara Falls, and he's been away from his family often as an international player.
Alby can take it off the sheet for 280. Big number.
Okay, you have your winner, Healy, shooting only a 177. We'll have you Alby's final after this. But this ABC Sports presentation of Professional Bowlers Tour will continue after these messages and a word from our ABC stations.
As I swing the proverbial hash and decant the coffee and witness the results, I am dismayed by the belief that an antacid in a spoon is somehow stronger than a tablet. Au contraire.
Dose for dose, Tums Ultra neutralizes more acid than my Lanza regular strength. And while this has aluminum and magnesium,
Tums Ultra has calcium.
Something my body needs anyway. I like that.
So if you must take your antacid in a utensil, may I suggest Ultra?
Today, millions of Americans are running faster with the same size engines and farther on the same amount of fuel. Millions have discovered the patented advantages of the split-fire spark plug, a difference that delivers on every stroke of every piston. 5 extra horsepower by merely installing these plugs, a 4.8% gain in mileage. If you're not running the split-fire, you're probably behind someone who is. Split-fire, more power and more mileage for your money back.
imagine a day everything went wrong. Suddenly I'm a liar. Dead wrong. Now, nothing is as it seems.
Everything I believed in was a lie.
Goldie Hawn. Deceived. Monday here on ABC.
Want to make a Consumer's Digest Best Buy an even better buy? Well, right now, we're offering $1,000 cash back on every Dodge Caravan. Not just some, every one. Add in up to $1,100 in package value discounts, and you can take up to $2,100 off America's best-selling minivan. Or choose 4.9 financing instead. So hurry to the Dodge National Best Buy sale. Right now, current Chrysler Corporation minivan owners get an additional $500 cash back.
It's your total family fun center, Leisure Lanes, Lancaster. Let's add it up. 52 lanes for 24 hours, 7-day-a-week open bowling or league play for everyone from the tiny tots to the seniors. There's a challenging 18-hole miniature golf course, a lighted driving range open all year long, plus a brand new all-grass putting course, the first of its kind in the area, a golfer's dream. Add in birthday parties, group or family outings, and that comes out to Leisure Lanes, Lancaster's total family fun center.
Rob Dixon has the forecast tonight on News Center.
I'm Julie Moran in New York. Coming up next on ABC's Wide World of Sports, an exciting new motorsports event rumbles into California, combining the high speeds and close racing action of stock cars with the heavy metal thunder of pickup trucks. It's the NASCAR Super Trucks Live. Plus, Sports Illustrated looks at the impact of big-time baseball salaries on small market teams. That's next on Wide World of Sports. Now let's go back to bowling.
Back again at the Athletic Center, Harper College. Palatine, Illinois. 3 games out of the way, and now it's a championship match. Mike Aulby let his presence be known with 9 strikes, defeating the United States amateur champion who shot a 177. And, Bo, this has been one of those exciting afternoons with arena bowling and a standing room only crowd.
It's been a great year, Chris. The score has been great in the arena bowling, and it's just been exciting all year long.
And we have a lot of people to be thankful to. Our talented teammates. So the 2 most powerful words in the world go to all of them. That is, thank you. Thank you very much. Big thank you to Paula Bowler, who helps us all, Secretary Supreme.
What a great name to be working on this event, huh, Chris?
That's right. Okay. Now, we're ready to handshake for the championship match. They're bowling for $93,000. 60 to the champion, 33 to the runner-up.
And for Mike Aulby, he could be the 4th man in bowling history to win the Triple Crown, the PBA National, the U.S. Open, and the Tournament of Champions.
Shooting is .265. He had 9 strikes. Frame number 1, the same. Here is Bob Spaulding from Greenville, South Carolina. After 48 games, has to bowl only 1. 17-7 in match play competition.
By far the player with the strongest game, both physically and with the bowling ball. Bob Spaulding, tournament leader, is in good position here, but watch as he comes through the swing area. Watch him cock that wrist and double torque it as he lets go of it. Terrific wrist action. The man can bench 425 pounds. He lifts heavy weights in the off-season and light in the on-season, and right now it's off. He's lifting a big ball.
Very big. He qualified for the Tournament of Champions by winning the Quaker State 250 February 4th of 1995. Now Alby. Can he match the tournament leader, Bob Spaulding? No. 247 on the right lane. Take just a little more time now. Preparation, thoughts. Has to be careful. All right, Bo.
Thank you, Chris Schenkel. Pat Healy, a great week, and you know, you had a chance to win bowling's professional premier event. However, what effect would this have had on your amateur status, i.e. the high roller tournaments that pay $100,000 or $200,000 first place?
Under the current rules, the only thing it would have affected would have been the high roller tournaments. I would not have been able to bowl those anymore. So in a way, I'm glad I didn't win, but I was really trying my heart out to win. You're a great representative of our U.S. amateur team, and hope to see you on the Pro Tour in the near future. Thanks, Paul. I appreciate everything this week. All right, back to you, Chris.
Okay. A gentleman, that young man. Pat Healey. Mike Aulby. 35 years old, 22 championships over a 16-year period. Now Bob Spaulding, the left of center, has a double up shooting in the third. Spaulding with tremendous confidence. Bob Spaulding goes out to a 20-pin lead.
Spaulding, who is very marginal in his early TV appearances, in fact, he lost most of his matches, only winning one of his first 7, has become more aggressive in the last 2 championship rounds, i.e. the Quaker State where he won, and right here at the Tournament of Champions.
Sliding by the pocket, leaving the 2-5 for one of 2 right-handers in the field.
Once again, he said that lane's 5 boards tighter than the right-hand lane, and the reason being the oil is put on the lane the same way, but there's 2 new panels. One about halfway down the lane was a new panel that's 12 feet long and served by Brunswick, because the old one that we used at Stony Brook was somewhat messed up when they were moving it here. As he goes by the 2-5.
Bad break as we replay the error. Bob Spaulding now leads only 6. Today's championship trophy sits really tall alongside the skyscrapers of Chicago.
Hey, you get into fitness, you're likely to get into athlete's foot, and that could be tough. I mean, look at, you've got all that itching and cracking stuff, and watch this. Boom, even burning. You see that? Now, that's what you call a really tough case. That's when you want a medicine that acts tough. Boom, tough-actin Tinactin. See, Tinactin cures even tough cases of athlete's foot fungus. It's clinically proven. No wonder it's recommended by pharmacists. You got a tough case of athlete's foot? Get this. Boom. Tough-actin Tinactin.
You know, Linda's been my barber. Stylist for years. Months. And a while back, she told me.
Stop squirming.
No. She said I should do something about my flakes. I said, get a new barber? She said, get new Head and Shoulders. I said, you're serious? She said, yeah. Now it has Micro D, which fights flakes better without stripping your hair of the oils it needs. So my hair feels... no flakes. And I owe it all to my stylist.
New Head and Shoulders, because great hair can't have flakes.
They've blazed a trail in sports and society.
I did what I had to do to be successful.
The African-American Experience, when Nike presents A Passion to Play, Sunday on ABC.
ABC Sports coverage of the Pro Bowlers Tour, brought to you by Brunswick. Get in the zone with Brunswick. Quality, comfort, Clarion, and Sleep Hotels. And McDonald's. Have you had your break today?
Rob Folks Band and a capacity crowd, including the commissioner, Mike Connor, in the audience with Arnie Fogel, Jack Reichert, Fred Florzanic, and this is the man on the Brunswick staff, Mike Aulby. Oh, that wobbly 6.
Well, he could have taken the lead with that. You know, it's following up a little bit on that Pat Healey interview, Chris, as we watch the 6-pin here by Alby, as he could have... This is the same pin that Haran did not carry as he won the match. And right now we talked to Healy about the high rollers. He won over $200,000 last year as an amateur. So he kind of made a good point when he said that he'd rather bowl the high rollers.
Mike Aulby, second at Peoria, started as the tournament leader, and then he was third at the U.S. Open as the second seed. So it's been frustrating year because he hasn't won since Wichita in 1993. Back in the 5th frame. Like the tide, things change in these championship matches. Bob started with 3 in a row and then had an open frame. Fifth frame. Six-footer, 225 pounds.
And his fiancée, Tina Fuller, rooting for Bobby.
And in the crowd here, Jeannie and Randy Halsey going forum lanes where Bob won the Quaker State 250, cheering him on. Alby up now, strike working 6th frame.
Alby kind of struggling on this right-hand lane. We saw him get that poor count as he closed out that match against the international player, Healy, and he has not struck on this lane in this match.
Six pin. It was a shot for the lead.
A shot we've seen a number of times from the left-handers today. When they get the ball a little bit wide or left of their target, it grabs very quickly in that drier part of the lane. The 6-pin remains standing. It's happened a couple of times to Alby. It was the downfall of Dennis Horan.
For the uneducated on bowling ball, why was the thump?
Well, Alby kills the shot, Chris. He breaks his wrist back, and the ball rolls end over end, almost over the edge of the finger hole and directly over the thumb. Excellent spear-making technique. However, it's going to take strikes, as we know, to win these championship games.
Pumped. 3 in a row, 17-pin lead over many-time champion Mike Aulby. Bob has 1. Going for his first major. Mike won the PBA National Championship in 79 and 85, the U.S. Open in 89, ABC Masters in 89.
This is the key lane for Spaulding. He actually chose to finish on this lane because he is the higher finisher in the tournament. And I think he struggled on it a little more in practice, and it's been the only lane he has missed where he hit light. So let's see if he can hit it here in the 8th.
Oh, he's rolling. Tournament leader, Bob Spaulding of Greenville, South Carolina.
Just Mr. Wrister there.
Remember, he closed last night by defeating Alby 254 to 234. Alby getting into this match with a big 265, 9-strike performance over amateur Pat Healy's 177. Healy had looked great in defeating Haran 231 to 227. Pat Healey, remember that name? Another of the college bowlers that have shown in the finals of our telecast, Bo, the last few years.
A lot of great players out there. For Mike Aulby, I don't think he can win the term if he doesn't strike on this ball. This is a critical shot.
Okay. So Bo, he's got that foundation now, hasn't he? But the other man has 4 in a row. The other man being Big Bob Spaulding.
Well, for Mike Aulby, possible 239 if he takes it off the sheet. Strikes out in the 10th. Right now, Spaulding going at a 236 pace. So if Spaulding doesn't throw another double in this match, Aulby can win with 2 strikes in the 10th. Obviously, Spaulding can take it all by throwing a strike here and marking in the 10th.
A 7-10.
What an unbelievable turn of events. Spaulding wanted that shot. He put a little more acceleration on the ball, and it hits light. And there's
last week's winner could do it.
1980.
The second open frame for the tournament leader, Bob Spaulding.
So it went from a shot to shutout. Mike Aulby goes to a match that's up for grabs. Spaulding kicks a mere 3-pin lead into the 10th frame. Aulby cogitates. Spaulding takes a re-rack. If Spaulding marks, he forces Aulby to throw 1 strike.
A major championship. Would be the first for Bob. Started out great with 3 in a row, Bo.
Well, Chris, he got a horrible break in the 9th frame. Now he's got himself in a position where if he strikes 1 more time, he would force Aulby to get 2 strikes. So once again, it's like the previous matches. It's strike for strike. He has forced Aulby to get 1 strike now. If he strikes again, he'll force Aulby to get 2 strikes. The count is secondary.
Tough order.
For all the wheat, 5-year exemption in this tournament, and 60 grand and a new boat.
What a performance by the tournament leader.
He needs 7 pins on this ball to force Aulby to throw 2 strikes and 1 pin. So the 1 pin's just secondary. He has forced Aulby to get 2 strikes for the Triple Crown.
And at the last minute, it goes. A 232.
Right now, Mike Aulby must strike on the next 2 balls.
Oh, what a load that is.
In all the positions he's been in, Chris, all the events he's won, he's never come to a position as important as this in anybody's career. This is the biggest tournament, and for Aulby, he could close out the Triple Crown. Must strike on the next 2 balls.
The Triple Crown, won by only 3 players. First, Billy Hardwick.
And Johnny Petraglia and Pete Weber. But I don't think, Chris, we've ever seen 1 ball thrown with more importance other than a perfect game, but to win a tournament than this particular ball coming up. Not only this tournament, but for the Triple Crown.
And for his mindset of the future. He's had a tough couple of years.
Look at Spaulding.
Bob Spaulding prostrate. He can't believe it. But he should know that Mike Aulby is a pressure player. He won the 122 championships, Bo.
Chris, he threw the first ball perfect. He got just a little break, but that's what you need to win all the titles. Right now, he needs a mere 4 pins.
That's it. That's it. The trophy, $16,000 Bayliner boat and a Triple Crown ring. There it is. And Tammy is crying, and why not? John Petraglia, one of the 4, just congratulated him. And there's Tammy and C.J. Christopher. So it's a 237, a 5-pin. What a big one for the T of C honor. All right, there he is, 23rd championship. And we'll be back.
For 150 years, Brunswick has been leading the way with names like Mercury, the world's leader in marine power; Sea Ray, the world's finest sport boats, cruisers, and yachts; Bayliner, the world leader in pleasure boats; Zebco, America's fishing favorite; and Brunswick, the #1 name in bowling. The companies of Brunswick, building for the future for 150 years.
You know, I'm always teaching bowlers how to put fingers into the shot, not just the ball. But you can also use your fingers to save money. If you're 50 or over, just call 1-800-4CHOICE, and you can save 30% at choice hotels like Quality, Comfort, Clarion, and Sleep. 30%. Now that's what I call aiming for the pocket.
Travelers 50 and over save 30% at Quality, Comfort, Clarion, and Sleep hotels.
We're at McDonald's All-Star Showdown. Sylvester is surrounded. He breaks through. He scores. Let's see that in slow-mo.
McBacon Deluxe.
Make way for Michael Jordan's McBacon Deluxe. 2 all-beef patties topped with savory bacon. It's McDonald's Taste of the Month for a limited time.
Good.
Sure is.
Michael Jordan's McBacon Deluxe.
Have you had your break today?
How close are you to all the sports you'd ever want to see? With Prime Star. Closer than you think. Prime Star has all the action you're looking for, plus lots of other great programming, all with digital picture and sound. And since Prime Star is a service, there's no equipment to buy. And it all starts at about $1 a day. So if you love sports, call 1-800-PRIME-STAR.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Tournament of Champions winner, Brunswick World, and a Triple Crown. Tammy.
I'm just so excited. He's wanted this for so long.
Our time is running out. Honoree Jack Rackard, Chairman of Brunswick Corporation, Triple Crown ring. Arnold Fogel, Brunswick, President of Brunswick Recreation Centers, $60,000, and our friend Fred Florjanic with a World Trophy.
Thanks, Fred. Thanks, Arnie. Jack, thank you very much. To everyone at Harper College for coming out and supporting us today, thank you very much. To Brunswick, the #1 name in bowling, thank you for being behind us all the way. To Mom and my family, this is for you and Dad. Thank you very much. I've been wanting this a very long time. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Cheerful Mike Aulby, whose father passed away recently. And Tammy, CJ, we congratulate you. And Jack, you're the greatest chairman I know. Jack Rackard, Arnold Fogel, and Fred Florjanic, just great people. Brunswick, goodbye.